Hi, welcome back to Movie Recap Zone. Today, I'm going to explain a comedy drama film from 2012 titled, This Is 40. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins with Pete and Debbie hooking up in their shower. Pete tells that he has taken the Viagra today, that's why he's so energetic today, but Debbie doesn't melt and walks out. She felt that now Pete doesn't find her attractive, so he has to take the Viagra to hold long. Pete tells Debbie that this is not the case, and it happens with age. While Debbie believes that Pete's eating fast food and sweets, that is causing him to lose his enthusiasm. Today is Debbie's birthday and she is 40 years old. But despite this, she rarely tells everyone her age. Because she doesn't want to get old so soon. On the other hand, Pete is also 40 years old. And his birthday was also going to come in this week. They have two daughters. Sadie is a teenager, and Charlotte is 8 years old. The sisters always fight with each other. Due to age, Pete and Debbie start quarreling over small things, and their choices starts becoming quite different. The kind of music that Debbie liked, Pete doesn't like them at all. The next day, Debbie visits her shop. In there, two girls named Desi and Jody works as co-workers. Debbie finds out that almost $12,000 is missing from the stock she sells. She asks Jody about it, but Jody tells that she doesn't know anything. Maybe Desi have stolen the money. Debbie couldn't believe this because Desi used to be a very good girl, and she always works with honesty. On the other hand, Pete has a music store where he sells old albums. But nowadays Pete's business ain't helping that much. He called some old rock stars to promote his business, but people are no more interested in the old albums. For this reason his plan doesn't work at all, and due to his loss in business, Pete's EMI is also not filled on time. That's why he might also have to sell his house. Pete doesn't tell Debbie about all his debt, because he didn't want to put her in tension. The next day, Debbie tells Pete that now on they should live a good and happy life together, and stop fighting like this. They make some rules, as if they would exercise daily, and Pete has to give up sweet food. Debbie also has to quit smoking, and both of them will spend more time with their daughters. Pete has to stop sending money to his father, because Pete's father wastes those money on drinks and alcohols. Both Pete and Debbie agree to follow the rules. At night, while checking the shop's CCTV, Debbie tells Pete that $12,000 is missing from her shop. Perhaps Desi have stolen the money, but Debbie couldn't directly blame her. Her shop was getting more profits because of Desi. On checking the CCTV, Debbie came to know that Desi often hooks up with some of her customers. Because Desi was getting more profits, that's why Debbie doesn't have any problem with that. The next day, Pete goes to visit his father, Larry. Larry has 3 more children. Pete tells Larry that he can't send them any more money. Larry starts to emotionally blackmailing him, and under compulsion, he has to give him money. Pete hides this from Debbie, because he knew that if he tells her then Debbie might get angry with him. Debbie also goes to visit her biological father, Oliver. Oliver had left Debbie's mother several years ago, and had married someone else. A few days later, Debbie tells her daughters that they have to reduce the cost of their house, and to do this she's going to cut the Wi-Fi out. Now the computers will also be run only for 30 minutes a day. Shelley gets very angry on hearing this because she used to spend most of her time on the computer. Debbie and Pete became quite irritated due to their professional and personal problems. That's why they go to a resort on weekends, so that they can get a little break from their stressed life. Debbie tells Pete that she brought some intoxicating cookies with her. They both eat those cookies, and enjoy a lot while intoxicated. They have injection games too. After spending some time in that resort, they came back home and the same regular boring life starts again. One day Jody tells Debbie that Desi has bought a very expensive clothes, and also got a car. She probably stole all this money from the shop. Debbie started suspecting Desi. She asks Desi about her clothes. Desi says that she made these clothes at home. Debbie sees that Desi's balloons are huge. She feels that Desi must have gone with some expensive operations. But Desi said that it's just natural. Sadie brings her friend to her house, and asks for her permission to turn on the Wi-Fi. But Debbie refuses, which angers Sadie, and she starts arguing with Debbie. Angered by this, Debbie snatches both Sadie's mobile and computer, and she finds out that in school, a boy named Joseph commented negatively on her photos. Pete gets a call from his shop and learns that this time the albums have sold even less, and Pete's business has gone into even more loss. Pete doesn't tell anything to Debbie, but the very next day Debbie learns everything, that Pete's financial condition is so bad and his business loss is going on. Pete still gives money to his father. After that, Debbie goes to the doctor for a checkup, and learns that she is pregnant. She is about to give birth to her 3rd child. Debbie gets shocked hearing this because, at this time, she did not want a child. Debbie don't understand that how she will give this news to Pete. The next day, Pete and Debbie go to Sadie's school. Debbie asks Pete whether he wants more than 2 children. Pete says that he only wanted 1 child, but 2 is fine too, and he doesn't want a 3rd child at all. Hearing this, Debbie doesn't tell him about her pregnancy and she hides it from Pete. After some time, Debbie meets the same boy named Joseph in the campus who used to comment bad on Sadie's photos. Debbie goes to him and threatens him and tells him to behave well with Sadie. The boy starts crying, so Debbie leaves him there. At night Debbie goes to the bar with Desi. They enjoy a lot in bar. Debbie asks Desi about the stolen money, but suddenly a boy came, considers Debbie to be single and asks if she wants to hook up. Debbie tells him that she can't do it because she is married. After the party, Debbie asks Desi if she knows anything about the theft in the shop. Desi flatly refuses she didn't steal it. So Debbie asks her from where does she got so much money. Desi reveals that she hooks up with peoples by taking money. She also tells that none other than the innocent-looking Jody has stolen from the shop. And she also takes drugs. Hearing this, Debbie also reveals her truth that she is pregnant, but she has not told this to Pete yet. Desi tells her, "You should tell him when you guys hook up, that will make him happy." At night Debbie goes to Pete but Pete ignores her. Debbie feels bad and she starts to feel that Pete doesn't love her anymore. Pete was already worried about his business, and Debbie also starts arguing with him. Due to which the Pete gets irritated and starts quarreling with Debbie again. The next day, Pete goes to drop off his daughters at school. Joseph's mother, Catherine, comes to Pete and says that he should take care of her wife. Hearing this, Pete gets angry. He starts abusing Catherine. On the other hand, Debbie meets Jody, the one who confesses that she stole the money to buy drugs while she was still drunk. Knowing this, Debbie immediately fires her from the job. Later Debbie gets a message from principal and is called to the school. She goes to school. There, Catherine blames both of them that they have abused him and his son. But Pete and Debbie make up quite innocent looks, and says that he has not done any such thing. On hearing this, Catherine becomes very frustrated. Along with Pete and Debbie, she starts abusing the principal too. Seeing this, the principal says, "Yes, I'm the guilty, and all of you are innocent," and sends them home. A few days later, Sadie finds out that his parents were checking her messages, and have also threatened Joseph, so she gets very angry with them. The next day was Pete's birthday. Debbie tells Pete that the fights between them are happening because of their parents, and if they both treat each other's parents well, then there will be no fight between them. The next day is Pete's birthday party. All the guests came, including Pete's father Larry and Debbie's father Oliver. Everything was going well, but during the party, the parents start arguing. Larry tells Oliver that's why he hasn't met Debbie in 7 years, even he's so rich. Why isn't he helping Debbie and Pete? Debbie gets angry and tells Larry to stop asking for money from her son. This leads to Pete and Debbie arguing again, and after some time Pete cuts his cake, and Debbie starts smoking cigarettes secretly. Sadie sees her mom and asks, "What are you doing?" A friend of Debbie speaks by mistake that Debbie should not smoke cigarette in pregnancy. Though the whole family hears this, and Pete gets very angry with her because she didn't tell about her pregnancy. Pete went out with a bicycle. Debbie again starts arguing with her father, and says why does he left her years ago and went away? If he had not gone, then his life would have been so perfect. Oliver explains that even though he has money, he is not happy either. His son takes drugs, and his wife never listens to him. He has no value in his family, no one even talks to him. That's why he came to Pete's birthday party, so that he can spend time with Debbie and her family. Hearing this, Debbie apologizes to Oliver, and asks her to stay at her home for some more time. Debbie goes to find Pete. Pete is riding a bike very fast in anger. Suddenly, a man opens the door of his car and Pete bumps into it. Pete starts fighting with the man, but the man runs away after punching Pete in the face. When Debbie arrives at time, and takes him to the hospital. In the waiting area, Debbie feels that she shouldn't behave like this with Pete. Larry says to Debbie that you guys should forgive each other, live a happy life. Debbie goes to meet Pete. She apologizes to him. Pete says that he is overjoyed at the news of having a 3rd child, and he is just angry because Debbie did not tell him about her pregnancy. And the matter of financial condition is that they will sell their house and shift to a smaller house. Day by day their relationship started improving a lot, and their family remains. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that like button if you did, subscribe if you're new. And at last, I'll say stay well, stay safe, thanks.